Hello everyone, this is Rishikesh. Welcome to my channel. Today we are gonna start a new series of a educational part. So in this series we are gonna learn Autodesk Revit. So I'm gonna try and explain the software in all of the domains, that is architecture, structure, and MEP. Basically I'm gonna teach the tool, and whoever belongs to any of the domain can learn the tools and use them in their respective projects. So this is our first lecture, and today we are just gonna see the user interface of the software and know some basic things which will help us to move on with the further topics. Talking about the topics, actually some of my colleagues and friends have asked me to start this series, and they will be giving me suggestions about the topics that they want to learn, and I will go along those topics. And if anyone else in my viewers are interested in any specific type of topics, they can suggest those on the comments, and if it is possible for me, I can make those lectures or tutorials first. So without further ado, let's move ahead. So here we are seeing the welcome screen of this software. The top portion is showing us the recently used projects, and the below portion over here is showing us the recently used families. So Revit has two different types of files that can be created to use. So first type of file is called as a project file, in which we actually build the building models and the services. And the second portion is where we create the parts or the objects that are required into our projects. Those parts or objects are called as Revit families. So there are different types of files the native to Revit that we use. The first one is .rte, that is Revit template file. We use that file to start a new project. When we save the project as a Revit project file, we save it as .rvt. The family template is called as .rft, Revit family template, and the family that we save, okay, to be used into a project, it is of extension .rfa. So let's start with some random project. So this is one of the sample project that Autodesk provides us. Using that, we will go through the user interface and see what all tools are there. So on top of the screen here, we see three different types of bars. The middle one is called a title bar. We see this title bar in many of the softwares. The basic function of this title bar is to show in which file you are working on, that is the name of the file, its file extension, and in Revit, other than that, we see in which view we are right now of that file. Then on the left side, what we see, it is called as a quick access toolbar. Here basically Revit gives us some of the list of commands that users use frequently. So instead of going into the respective tab and clicking and starting them, okay, or if people don't remember the keyboard shortcut of that command, they can go and click on this quick access toolbar and access their command. So suppose if you don't have the command that you use frequently in this list, you cannot check it on over here. So to access such kind of command, or to place such kind of command into this list, it's just simple. You will go to that command or that tab. Let's say, for an example, I want a window command over here, because maybe most of the time I'm working on modify tab or something like that. Maybe not an architectural tab, but let's say not a window command. I want a command like link CAD. Okay, so what I can do is I can go and right click on that command and say add to quick access toolbar, and you will see that command comes and adds up over here. You can access from here. So suppose if you are working on architectural tab, structural tab, or any other tab but not the insert tab, and you frequently need to use this command, then you can do so. Of course, I'm not going to use link CAD frequently, but this is just an example that I'm showing to you guys. If you want to remove the command which you have might added accidentally to this quick access toolbar, and you don't want this toolbar to be crowded, then you can just go to that command, right click on it and say remove from quick access toolbar. That's it. Now coming to the right side here, actually you will have login information of your Autodesk account, and you can also go to this help toolbar and type in the keyword that you want, and Autodesk Revit will pop up a help window from where you can actually access the content related to the keyword you have entered, and of course it should be relevant to Revit. As well as if you go down over here, you will have access to additional information related to Revit, like what's new into this version, essential skills videos, Revit community, and so on. You can access this information via your Autodesk account. Now coming down over here, you will see the extreme left. In previous version, you had this button which you can click and an application menu used to open. Now they have provided a file menu button. If you click on this, an application window will open, and into this application window you have various file handling commands, as well as you can see that you have the list of recently open projects over here, and so you don't have to browse through your Windows Explorer to access those files that you have used recently. You just come to this menu list and you can find the recently used commands, or sorry, recently used files right away. And when you come to new command, if you just click on this button, then it will pop up a window from where you can select the project template and start a new project, or you can continue to create a new template using an existing template by selecting this option and say okay. Suppose if you don't have the template that you want over here, then you can click on browse, and Revit will take you to a window where the Revit templates are stored. Okay, if you are in the wrong folder, you can just browse through the other folders, and then you can go and access the template that you want. Like let's say I want to use an electrical default template in imperial format. So we can go and select that and start a new project. So the importance of choosing a correct template is that the type of project that you're going to work on, and according to that type of project, the number of settings, the type of settings, and the type of annotations and model families that you need into that project will be available to you into the list of project browser or into the library of that file if you have selected an appropriate project template. If you have selected a wrong template, then you will have to load those families, load those annotations and settings, or create those settings for you manually, and it can be time consuming for a big project. Similarly, if you want to uh, start or create a new family, instead of clicking on this new button over here, you will go inside this menu. When you hover your mouse, there will be an extra menu added over here. You can browse there and select family to create a new family. We can also create a conceptual mask, which is helpful to create complex shapes required in your Revit project, mostly an architectural project. You can create a custom title block for your company. You can create custom annotation symbols for your projects. Okay, so these are different types of files that can be created using new command. If you go to open, you can open the files from different types of sources which are relevant to Revit. You can also browse down over here up to sample files. If you click over here, Revit will take you to a folder where the sample project files are stored by Autodesk when you install this software. You can use these files to practice. If you click on save button, and when you're saving the project for first time, of course, browse to specific folder there where you're going to save this project. Give it a name. Okay, choose the file type if you are going to save it as a project or as a template, and then go to options, and here you choose how many number of backups you want, because the larger the number, it will create more number of backup files, and of course it will accommodate your hard drive space. So if it is worth, then you can increase the number, otherwise keep it as low as possible. The least number of quantity that you can set over here for the backups is 1. Similarly, you can go and say save as and save a project with a different name. Like AutoCAD, you cannot save your project in an older version. You can save your project as a template too. Okay, or you can save your project on a cloud-based service with a different name than the earlier you saved. Or you can save your local project onto a cloud model, okay, using save as command. Using export option, actually you can save your project in other file formats than the Revit native file formats. That is, you can save a project into CAD formats such as TWG, DXF, and so on. You can save your mostly the view, the current view, or the list of views, or the whole project into PDF format. Okay, so you can just export all of the views that you have generated into a PDF file format. You can export your project into an Industrial Foundation class file format, which can be exchanged with other BIM softwares. Then you can also export your files into DWF. You can export your 3D model, okay, from a 3D view into an FBX format. Right now I am into a 2D view, that's why this option is off. Suppose if I go to a 3D view, let's say I go to a previous project over here, and I can click on create a 3D view or go to a default 3D view. Once I'm into this view, if I go to file menu, say export, and click this FBX, and I can save this model into an FBX format and use it wherever I need it. Similarly, if you're working on a file, you can export the file type information. Okay, it will be a .text file. You can export your project's energy model information or the actual project into a .gbxml file format, and it can be used into softwares like Navisworks to calculate the heat loads or interpret the data to understand the efficiency of our project. You can also export the project information into an ODBC database. You can export your project's views into an image format, or you can also export the walkthrough if you have created it earlier, okay, into a video format. You can export the scheduled reports into .csv format, okay, which can be imported into any database software or Excel. You can export your room or area reports too. These are the settings where you can actually control while exporting these particular formats what all things should be taken into consideration. If you go to print option, you will find different settings and options to create and get the printouts. Here, by clicking on this close button, you will close the current project, but it won't close the Revit. If you have clicked close multiple times, it will close all of the files that are in front of you, and at then you will be at the welcome screen that you saw earlier. If you want to switch right now between your welcome screen and the project, you can just click over here on this button, home, and you can go to your welcome screen and again switch to the project that you are working on. If you go into the options, you will find different settings necessary for Revit. Basically, in general, you will find settings like the save intervals. That means at what amount of time, after what amount of time, Revit should remind us that we have to save our work. So those who have used AutoCAD, you might find it weird, but Revit doesn't have an option to automatically save the work. Okay, but you will be reminded by the software by the time set over here that you have not saved your work for a while, and you should save it first before continuing to next command. Okay, so there are two different ways how we save our project. We save that project as a single file, or we save the project as a shared file, that is a collaborative file. So if you are saving the file as a collaborative file, it is saved on a server, and from the server it is accessed by different users from the respective individual nodes, that is computers. So when you are accessing such central file, okay, you do not use save command to update the central file, you use synchronize command. So at that time, Revit should remind you that you have to synchronize your work. So for that remind interval, you have the second line. And if you're saving your work locally as a single user file, then this is the option, this is the duration or setting that will be used to remind you that you have to save your work. That's it. And there are lots of settings in these options, but I guess some of them are just like you can understand by the reading them. Whatever settings that are important, I will just tell you, you can focus on them first. So if you want to learn the keyboard shortcuts of this software, you can come to user interface, go to keyboard shortcuts, customize, and here you will find all of the commands that are there in your Revit software. So you will find all those commands which are already been assigned with keyboard shortcuts, and also those commands which do not have the shortcuts. You can browse through the commands, and you can find the commands that you want, that you use frequently, and if they don't have any keyboard shortcut assigned, you can just type in the name over here. Okay, and the keyboard you can say set of key combinations, and click assign, and it will assign the keyboard shortcut to that. I will recommend that you would assign a keyboard shortcut with minimum of 2 letters. If you assign a keyboard shortcut with single letter, after typing the keyboard shortcut, you will have to press hit enter. And if you assign the keyboard shortcut with a combination of 2 or more letters, then you just type in those keys in sequence, and once you stop typing the sequence, then it will automatically start the command for you. There are options like double clicking. Most of the time when we work on the Revit project, you have to access certain kind of information of the object that you're selecting. The Revit has given us the option that if you want to do certain operation, and frequently you're doing certain operation, then just double click on it and it will give that option for you. So there are two types of settings mostly for many of the objects. That is, if you are going to double click on it, either you are going to edit the object, okay, or you are going to access the type properties of that object. So let's say if I'm double clicking a window, so I want to access the type properties of that window, then I should assign a customization that whenever I double click the family, it should give me the edit type option, okay, of that particular family. But suppose I want to edit the window family itself, so whenever I double click the window or any family, Revit should go into family editor, open that window over here, over there, and give me access to the family editor tools. If I want that, then I can say that whenever I double click the family, it should go to edit family. So it has given you options to access or assign those double click settings to these different types of elements. Color schemes, you can change it from here. Actually, this setting changes from version to version. Whichever version you're using, you'll find something different over here. So And this dark theme has been added since 2024. It was not until now. Even 2023 didn't have this option to change it to dark or light or gray or something like that. It was there, but it was not that dramatic how you are seeing over here. This is something that what they have done to AutoCAD in 2015. Now we are able to see such theme in 2024 version of Revit. In earlier versions, you can see that the background or the bars and all the panels are very, very light in color. Okay, even though if you're turning the scheme to dark, okay, it is not that dark. And of course, you can change the background to the color you want in older versions, but the surrounding scheme of these panels, browsers, and property windows, it was not that dramatic or different when you change the option from dark to light. And so graphics related settings, hardware, file locations. File locations is very important. Suppose if you're using a particular type of template to start a project, okay, and it is like your core template of your client or your company, which you have to use frequently when you're starting a new project. So, and that is not listed into your new command, so you can list it over here. Go to this add button, this plus symbol, browse to the template where you have saved it, select the template and say open. It will be listed over here. You can name it whatever you want, regardless what is the name of the template file. Okay, and then you can also take it above, so that whenever you hit new command, this is the file you're going to see first. Okay, so you can set the priority list over here. And also when you're saving the project, you can actually define which folder Revit should take you when you say hit Control S first time. Okay, and so on. So there are other different file paths that you can set over here, YouTube settings and so on. Yeah, so these are some of the settings that are important. Then coming down over here, you will see that this is a ribbon. It consists of different palettes, like select palette, build palette, circulation, and so on. Then this set of palettes are into a ribbon called architecture. You will have tabs to switch between different ribbons to access the type of commands or type of set of commands that you are interested in working in at that instant. Also, we have a provision that let's say I am constantly working on rooms and tags and so on. Okay, and also I need some annotation tools. So I have to go to annotate tab. So I have dragged out the rooms and areas tab over here anywhere in this space, and I am now setting another tab, and I am able to use these two simultaneously without switching to and fro to the architectural tab and another tab. Once I'm finished with the rooms command, I don't want this palette over here anymore. I can just click over here on this symbol and it will go back to the architectural tab. So this is the ribbon, and now we will see options bar. So options bar is nothing but this blank space that we are seeing over here. Right now it is blank, but when you start any command, like if I start wall command, it will have all of the options necessary to create a wall. Okay, if this is not enough, you can go to properties and change more settings over here. Okay, but these are the options that are available to you. You can use that before clicking on the screen. You can set appropriate values and then you can start creating the wall. Okay, so of course you don't have the option to select the wall type. That can be chosen from properties window, but here you can choose that on which level the wall will be created, what will be the height of the wall, how it is controlled, and so on. Now these are the options related to the wall command. Suppose I start I go to systems and I say I want to create a pipe. So I will have options related to create a pipe. On which level the pipe will be created, what will be the diameter of the pipe. I will have the list that is stored into the settings of the pipe, okay, or mechanical settings, and so on. I can choose those options and then I can start routing. Over here you see is a property window. Now I have actually reorganized how the property window and this right side window looks. But when you install the software, you will see that this is how the interface looks. So I just dragged this window and placed it on another side of the screen because it is convenient for me that way. So in properties window, you will find two different types of properties. This section is called instant properties, and when you click on the edit type, of course, as the name says, you have the type properties. So what is type properties? Let's say you have selected an element over here. For instance, I am selecting, okay, let's say I've selected the curtain wall. Now this is a wall type. You can see that there are different types of wall types over here already present. So when I select this specific wall, okay, now if I select this wall, if I go and click on this wall, you will see the same name, curtain wall solar panels. Curtain wall solar panels means if I am going to make changes into these walls, okay, so I can select the walls and make changes into the properties of that wall. So if I have selected only this instant and make changes over here, it will affect only this wall, okay, because these properties are called instant properties, okay. And if I want to make changes into some of the properties, those belong to this type. That means if I go inside over here and I make changes into certain properties, it will affect the solar panels wall. That means wherever in this project the solar panel wall type is used, it will affect each of that wall, okay. So some types of settings or properties are provided in a format that you can access and change them for every instance separately, and some properties are global for that particular type. So those properties are provided as type properties, okay. So even if you are creating a family, you can decide the parameters that are to be assigned to those objects, okay, or properties are called as parameters for you. So the parameters that you're going to assign to that family or part, you can choose if that parameter will be an instant parameter or a type parameter, depending upon how it is significant for you to work in the project. Okay, so this is properties window. If you come to the right over here, you will see it project browser. The project browser will have all of the information which will help you to navigate through this project. Like you can go to floor plans, okay, you can go to enlarged floor plans, you can go to life safety plans, and so on. So whatever types of views that you have created for all of the floors of your building, you can navigate through them, okay. This blue highlighted symbol indicates that this particular view is being placed onto a sheet. If any of the view is not placed onto the sheet, you will not see the blue highlight on this radio button over here, okay. So this is how you will know if the views have been placed onto sheet or not. This is introduced in 2023, and the further versions you cannot see this highlight option in 22 and older versions. So not just the views, but if you have created schedule quantities, drafting views, legends, all the families that you have, all the sheets that you have created, you can navigate through all of them through this project browser. In future, if anyone is interested, I can also show you how to make changes into your browser so that it will act accordingly how you want to see it and how you want to navigate it. So there is an option called browser organization. You can actually create or assign different settings so that your browser appears in the way you are working. Okay. So these two windows are very important in case you close the properties window. You can hit Control 1 or PP to start that window. I guess in this version they haven't removed the Control 1 keyboard shortcut. You can hit PP on the screen and it will start the command over here. And same way, if you accidentally close the project browser, what you can do is you can right click on the screen. Okay, you can browse to this browser and click on project browser. This doesn't have the keyboard shortcut, so you can do this. And if you don't want to go to right click, you can go to view tab, and from here into user interface, you can click on project browser and you have the project browser. If you don't remember this shortcut for properties, you can again go to user interface and you can click on the properties, and if when the check mark comes, the property window will appear. If the check mark goes, the property window will go away. You can dog this property window the way you want. Same way you can dog the project browser the way you want. Okay, you can dog it this way too. There you go. It's totally up to you how you are comfortable to work on the screen you have. You can choose how and where these properties and project browser will be stacked, and of course the width size of them, because if you have a smaller screen size like 17-inch or 20-inch, then it is really difficult to manage and work on the screen, especially if that screen has lower resolution. We usually tend to work on a screen size of 24 inches and higher into our offices, and that too we have two panels connected to our system. Yeah, now coming down to the bottom part, this is called a status bar. Status bar will help you to do few things like the view in which you are. You can set the scale of that view. You can set the level of detail. Setting upon the level of detail, Revit will decide what all components of the selected part will be shown and so on. Sorry, my bad. I accidentally clicked on the scroll menu and it dragged the view out of our focus. You can also select the visual style of the current view. So all these settings, these are they belong to the view that you are right now working on. If you change the view, the settings will be different. If you change the view again, the setting will be different. So each and every view settings can be controlled from here. So sometimes you have like many views which are carrying similar settings, so it is very difficult to go to each and every view and assign the same settings. In such cases we come with a concept called view templates. Those are there in the Revit over here, and you can use them. So in future we might see a detailed lecture on this part too. Okay, so these are the scroll bars which you can use to navigate around the 3D or 2D space. Okay, similarly, if you want to like navigate using your mouse, you can just scroll up and zoom in, scroll down and zoom out, click and hold your middle wheel, and you can pan around. You can click and hold your shift button and then middle wheel, you can orbit around your project. If you double click on your middle wheel of this mouse, then it will zoom to fit or zoom to extends. This is the view cube. You can use this view cube tool to navigate or orient your view on the project. Mostly when you click the view cube, it will just not just orient the view, but it will zoom to fit. So there are options for view cube also, where you can go and say that when I do this operation, don't zoom to fit. So it will just orbit around and not change the zoom to fit option. Okay, same way, if you click on this home button, you can actually go to the default southeast isometric view of the project. You also have different settings over here for the status bar again. So one is that you can actually create work sets. Work sets are defined to work on the project on a collaborative basis using different users. You can assign a different work set for every user, and then they can access the file using that work set name, and the owner of the created element is being displayed over here, and without the permission of that owner, it is not possible for other users to edit the element which is created by him until unless he grants access to them or he relinquishes all of his ownership of the created elements. Okay, so there are different ways to do that in this Revit environment. In future, we might see that too. Also, we can create different design options for our client using design options. This is the shortcut placed on our status bar. Okay, and also whenever we are going to select the objects over here, so Revit has provided us the option that our cursor will have some filters. Accordingly, we would be constraining us from selecting unwanted objects and just be able to select the objects which we need. So these are the filters. Like if this option is on, that means you are able to see this chain symbol. You can select the linked elements into your view. If I uncheck this, you won't be able to select the linked objects into your view. So let's say if you have a linked AutoCAD file, linked Revit file, or linked any other element like PDF or so you won't be able to select that if this option is on, because you have said that whatever is linked into this project from outside, don't select it. So this is just a filter for your crosshair or cursor. Similarly, you can decide that if you are on second floor and if there is a property over here in views where you said that you want to see the underlay elements, it means that you will be able to see the objects which are one floor below. Yeah. If you uncheck this option, which is unchecked right now, you won't be able to select those objects even though you are able to see them. So this is very useful that you want to refer the floor below while working on the current floor, and you also don't want to accidentally make changes into the objects that you're seeing from the floor below. So if just unchecking this option will avoid all those things to happen. But sometimes if you're intently uh, wanting to change the objects, okay, a floor below, then you can just say, okay, I want to change the object floor below. So this is just like the underlay elements. Actually, you can also decide in the view that which actually floor you are going to see for the underlay, and you will be able to select those elements using this filter. Okay, so same day, if you have pinned or fixed some objects onto your model and you don't want to accidentally select and unpin it, then you can say that don't select the pinned objects. So this is how you can decide which filter will help you in which situation. So it is a toggling options. You will be eventually toggling different filters according to the work you have to do on the project. So that's it for the introduction, guys. I hope it covers the most important part for the user interface until now, and we'll be seeing different topics from easy to bit advanced, but not super advanced because I'm not into Dynamo and so until now. But maybe in coming future we would be able to see those topics too. But I hope whatever I can fill in into these tutorials will help many professionals to improve their knowledge into this software and move a step forward towards their success. So see you around. Bye bye. Take care.